Hello sneaker lovers, welcome back to Shoe Dog Review. No prizes for guessing what we've got here today. We're looking at the Yeezy 700 in the Salt colourway. We've actually got two pairs, a pair from Hong Kong and a pair from China. And what is interesting is the difference in the QC standards. We'll have a look at that a bit more closely in a minute, but let's just focus in on the style itself. Of course, a lot of people have been saying it's boring, it's not very exciting. I guess, you know, with it being a release and all the build-up and focus there is around a style being released in a certain colourway, people expect it to really sort of have a lot more drama about it. At the end of the day, this is a tonal version of the shoe. It's just a new colourway, but it works very well with the collection of clothing and is an accessorising part of the total look. And because it's all one colour, actually what I like about that is you get to appreciate the silhouette of a shoe without all those pieces fighting for your attention and breaking it up, which obviously the first colourway, the solid grey, did quite dramatically, but even the mauve had its elements of that too. And you know, this is a trend, isn't it? This block colour thing, you know, it's just very clean. Yes, it's quite a light colourway, so we'll have to use some crepe protect to keep it nice and clean. Otherwise, they'll just look like shit after about 2 weeks, especially for guys. I mean, I think this is probably going to be a popular ladies' colourway more than men's, but nevertheless, and it's really more of a summer colourway, some might say. But here it is. Now, obviously, most of the materials have been transposed across from the 500, the Salt colourway of that. I mean, if we look here, you can see the same suede and the same mesh here. Obviously, with the 700, you've got your 3M underneath the quarter panel here, you've got your 3M here, no painted 3M on the midsole, and same mesh detailing, same 3M tabs on the front end there. Same beautiful shape at the back, 3M behind the heel counter. Paint on this part here. I noticed a lot of people saying it's black on the bottom, but actually it's not, it's charcoal. And we've got the same boost midsole running through underneath this outer EVA shell. There isn't, I mean, it's quite hard to sort of talk about the shoe itself because of course you know it so well, but I think one of the most important things is to have a good look at it. I will be taking photos, stills, so that you've got something to refer to. As a comparison resource. But let's just have a look. This is the China version, and as you can see here, it's quite shoddy along there. Nasty glue marks. Whoever the QC was, he needs to kick up the bum, doesn't he? Hasn't done a very good job there. It's interesting that the pair from Hong Kong are much, much cleaner. Now the Hong Kong pair are dated December 18, that's last year, and these are January this year. So there's one month between them. You would have thought that this pair, being made a month later, would have been better quality than the first lot, because of course, you know, any teething problems would have been eliminated. But there it is. You can even see it on the stitching around here. These are stitched by hand, not computer stitching, and generally they tend to follow the printing, and they've wandered off here a little bit too wide, realised it's a bit wide, see that, and then steered that back in. So it's a little bit messy there. Obviously it also bumps over the layer underneath, so it's a little bit hard to control on the wheel. But yeah, both pairs made in India, in the Adidas Apache factory. I think all the US pairs will be the same too. The Hong Kong one actually technically is the same as the US export version. So I imagine that that's why the QC standard is what it is. It's a bit naughty though, pushing the poor quality stuff into China. You know, being that I'm here and I understand how picky people are here about stuff. You know, that's not going to go down well if they actually knew that. Even the footbed, I noticed that one of the two, the transfer bleed is a little bit off. look at that. Get the other half pair. Just a sec. Pull that out. If you can see, it's almost got a double transfer going on there. It looks a little bit fat. Whereas if you come back to that one, it's nice and thin and sharp. Can you see the difference? Now, I'm not going to go on about QC too much, you know, a bit boring, but coming back to the footbed quickly, what you can see here is the same Ortholite, 3 colour, 3 density sole footbed. Nice, very cleanly executed. You won't find many replicas that have got that so well done. Following around that edge there, I think they hand placed that in the mould, then pressed the whole thing together. Beautifully done, perfect match, very, very clean, great execution. As I say, there will be still photos, so you can actually study that a little bit more in detail. This is just about a walkthrough of the shoes. I'll turn the lights off in a minute, we can have a look at the 3M, see how that is. We've got the same secure fit detail on the inside with the elastic, the same exposed boost, let's say strobel board. I'll do some interior photos, you can see how cleanly and well made it is on the inside. But as I say, definitely a difference in quality between the Chinese and the Hong Kongese retail versions. A lot of people are saying that it's boring, I've already said that, but I actually really, really like it because it's an opportunity to really appreciate the silhouette. And it's that lovely chisel toe, very pointed. Yes, it's a bit shallow. You always have to size up a half size or a whole size, otherwise your toes are getting cramped in there. It's a little bit like ballet shoes. Those are not ballet. Those were always very, very tight on the toes too. Now, $300, you've got to ask yourself though, is that too high? I think it is. 200 would be more reasonable, but that's the name of the game, isn't it? I mean, I like it, like I say, and you know, of course, it would be nice to see a utility black version of this too. I do like the tonal effect. I love how cleanly they execute the back here. You know, you see most replicas. Okay, some do a very, very, very good job, but they do struggle with that. It's not an easy thing to do. I'm sure even Adidas struggle with that execution. It's not an easy construction at all. Beautiful detail there. Very particular there. Again, you can see quality issues around the edge there. As opposed to the Chinese version, you look at the heel, it's much cleaner. And if you look at the bleed, these air bleed lines, this one's more on center, slightly off center, but this one is slightly more off. In fact, I've noticed it more on the other foot, coming off, tapering off at an angle there. Terrible. Look at that dink there. Now, looking at the Yeezy releases across the year, of course, you know, like I say, I'd love to see a utility black colorway of this. I doubt that's going to happen. There's nothing showing up about it. But the V2 700, of course, there's a couple more colorways coming out of that. The Geode and one other one, I've forgotten the name. But you know, so there's quite a lot going on this sole. It's fair to say. And I think after that, perhaps it would have been enough, and we would have, you know, done it. You know, but maybe this shoe would become like a block color classic. Maybe there will be a solid black, or utility black, or solid stone, or even the solid mauve brown. I think, you know, it as a shape, I think it's got some mileage, because you don't really notice how deep the sole is when it's a block color shoe. It just becomes a one overall look with a slight elevation to the heel. It'll be interesting to see how this does work on resale. There's 6,000 pairs gone to the US, 6,000 gone to Europe. I don't know how many have gone to Australia and Asia, but let's just say there's like 18,000 pairs out there. That's, for the US, that's not a lot. For Europe, that's not a lot. For Asia, that's not a lot. So I'm sure it will. A, will it sell out? I think it probably will. B, will there be, you know, an increase when it comes to resale? Probably not. You know, as we've seen actually with the mauve, there was still some left on shelf, and you know the resale price didn't really soar that high. Now people say is Yeezy over. Of course it's not. It's barely begun. I mean, I think actually, you know, it's becoming. It's got another 10 years, I think, but you know, it's not going to be maybe as crazy as it was. It needs some crazy stuff to go on, but there's a lot of milk in this to be had, and that's what's going to be happening. That's what you're going to see, and I think perhaps actually this block colour is an indication of a trend that's going to continue in terms of it becoming a much tamer accessory type shoe for the overall look. Let's just cut to the 3M and then let's wrap it up. Cheers, guys. Okay, so running around the shoe, you can see the 3M, same two windows here, same one, 2 rows of 4 at the back, which I think is a very nice detail, and the 3 stripes, which people do say should run into the eye. It's actually slightly off if we're honest. And then the 2 lace webbings, the lace keeper here and the bottom of the throat. But again, you know, the whole thing, there's no orange, no colour, it's very subtle. Kind of reminds me of a shoe called the Silver Shadow, which was a high-tech shoe, and that was also, let's say, a salty grey colour. Check out the Hong Kong version and the China one. Just put the 2 side by side so we know what we're looking at. Yeah, absolutely no difference there at all. I mean, that's not an item that's going to have a QC issue, because of course it's sheet material, cut, applied, so it'll be universally the same, made by 3M. No surprises there. Now, feel free to hit me up at the bottom and sort of say, point out things that are missing, ask me questions. If people want to know about fit, well, it fits exactly the same as the mauve. Same last, same cutting dies, same tooling, same everything, just new colours. I would have been tempted to paint 3M there, but clear. It would have been really nice to come alive there. You know, just that added feature. Okay, so check out the stills. Use this as a comparison resource. Watch out for those resales, and yeah, don't buy resale from China, because the QC is abominable. I've left the flash on, even though we've got a light, so it's quite nice. It doesn't interfere too much. But just a quick run through again of materials. So, because unlike the others, you know, the leather on the facing is not a heavy tumble. There is a tumble to it, but if you look across the pairs, it's not consistent. It's more of a napper. Still from Sudeza. The suede is also from Sudeza. Very high quality leather manufacturer. They make some stuff for in fact, the Stan Smith, the white leather on the Stan Smith's made by Sudeza as well. So you've got cow suede, wingtip, quarter stabilizer, heels, flanks, counter. Then you've got the napper facing. So only two leathers on the shoe. Don't forget, on the first version with the grey, there was actually microfiber here as well. Self-colour printing all along the edge. 2 areas. That must be a really hard job, actually. Think about it. They've got to paint that and trim it, or cut it and then paint it. Either way, lining those 2 up must be an absolute nightmare. Quite a feat. Yeah, and that is a detail that the reps don't get done very well on, most of them anyway. Only the top tier ones. I mean, like we've seen GT, G5, PK, you know. Obviously, I think G5 and GT are the best versions, and they've done the best job on that print. But it's not an easy one at all. Very, very difficult. As a designer, I wouldn't even put a detail on it because I just know how hard that is to control in production. But then that's me. Sloppy paint job, like the rest. In fact, that's another detail that I noticed that was different between the two. Let's get the China and let's get the, okay, so China's here and Hong Kong's here. Look at the paint job on the China one and look at that around the edge, right? Whereas look at the Hong Kong one, nice and clean, much, much better. It is a characteristic that it runs over the edge. That is a design detail. I think it's quite nice. But as I say, the China version, shoddy. Okay, well, I'm sure I've forgotten something. I always do. My bad. Yeah, I knew I'd forgotten something, and it was, you know, beefing about the QC. Interestingly enough, on here you can see this label here. It's QC 18. So QC 18, you're fired. Sorry. This might be a few minutes. That's true. That's why they put those labels on. It's interesting, isn't it, that if you look at the Hong Kong one, A, it's got two labels, and B, it doesn't have a QC sticker on the inside. China does, because there's an extra layer of QC coming into the country. I'm sure that's what that's about. You know, well, I mean, you know, being here, I know just how bureaucratic they can be about everything, even the, you know, documentation and everything. This is so much more complicated here, really. So they define everything. So there you go. They've got their own QC, and Mr. QC 18, he signed this pair off with that glue. If I bought, I have bought these, but you know what I'm saying, if I was a consumer and I'd queued, I fought to get a pair and I got that, in the hope that I was going to keep them and then sell them on, you know, I know I'd actually have a difficult time selling them on because people would see that and want to find a better pair. Unfortunate, really. Okay, that ends the, oh no it doesn't. I can also see that the blind eyelets, you know these metal eyelets on the inside? Okay, they're not even lined up properly here. Look, they've warped, so if you try and put your legs through there, it ain't gonna happen. Hope that's been informative. I hope that you've actually had a better look at the shoe than the other unboxings. And yeah, check out the photos. Cheers guys. See you next time.